Welcome, welcome, and welcome once again to the Sonya Dungee podcast, episode 106. I am going to bring our folks on, hopefully, on our Instagram. So just give me that opportunity. So in the meantime, please let us know where you are tuning in from tonight. And I will be right back at you. One moment. Let's see. Okay, one moment. Hi, we are live, so you might want to watch us live. Got to go. All right, I am bringing our guests up on Instagram. One moment. Okay. Saying that they're there, but I do not see them for sure. I'm going to go take a peek and see if I can see you guys on Instagram. Hopefully. Instagram could be challenging, but it's all good because we are resilient. That's what we're talking about today, resilience. All right, let's see. Remove. Okay. All right, Instagram, don't you worry. We are bringing you back in to the mix. Okay. Don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, let's see where our friends are in Instagram world. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Make sure we see them here. Okay, so if Instagram does not see us, which it doesn't look like it, we're gonna do it a different way. No, not to worry. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we're just gonna go with what we have. It's saying we're live, but honestly, I don't see it. So we'll soon see if that is so or not so. Don't want to leave anybody out if we can at all help it. Okay, it's saying that we're live. All right. We're going to take it forward. It's saying that we're live. Hopefully we are live. So thank you once again. And I hope you took the time to, yes, you guys are there. Great. To let us know where you are watching us from. You are in for a treat tonight. This is, again, the Sonya Dungee episode 106, and it is sponsored by Always Destined for Greatness, LLC, where conversation is always the essence of the soul. I am your host, Sonya Dungee, and yes, I am still bringing the heat to the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram streets. So for those of you who don't know who I am and tuning in for the first time or watching the replay, I want to thank y'all for that. My name is Sonya Dungee. I'm a transformation coach, and I help those who are struggling with hardship and grief and life challenges go from suffering in silence and feeling stuck with no direction and no end in sight to becoming resilient and empowered with an attitude of expectation and excellence, achieving economic independence so that they can be destined for greatness, their very best, so that they can truly walk in their God-given purpose. And the reason why I am sitting before all of you tonight is because the catalyst was my dad, Mr. John Shedrick Dungee, went on to be with the Lord, and that happened January 23rd, 2021 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the VA Hospital in Northport, New York. I held my dad's hand, watched as a tear rolled down his eye, and saw him take his last breath here on this earth and his first breath there in heaven. And as a result, it put me in a really dark place. I spiraled out of control. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't take drugs, but I just hid. I lied. Anybody who asked me how I was doing, I told them I was fine, even when I really wasn't. I didn't want to talk about grief to anyone because I knew my children were grieving. I figured that my siblings were grieving. I knew they were grieving, and I just didn't want to add to it. So I was stuck. I was that hamster on the wheel. Like those of you who saw Groundhog Day, that ever-ending same day every day, that was me, like the gerbil on the wheel, hamster, goes around and around and around, just going, just going, just going. The only things that changed for me was the seconds, the minutes, the hours, the days of the week, the months of the year, the seasons. That's the only thing that changed for me. I lost a lot of weight, didn't try to. And it wasn't until the 342nd day when I made that conscious decision that I could not continue doing what I was doing the way in which I was doing it. It wasn't conducive to my health, my well-being, my family, my life in general. And my father would have never wanted that for me, nor expected that from me. And so it was at that point I found a mentor. I found a community. I started taking personal development courses. 4 years and 6 days later, here I am. Here I am. And now I'm able to help those that are stuck the same way I was, to help them to be able to move forward progression, one day at a time, one day more than the day before. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is resilience. I chose to stick with resilience because in so many of the previous episodes, we've talked about the grief, the hardship, the despair. And I want to show you firsthand what can truly happen for you. You can be resilient. You can move past, not to say that you're going to forget, not to be disrespectful. You still will grieve. You still will have those moments. The only difference is you know that you're not going to allow yourself to be stuck in those moments too long. And I put myself out here as a living testimony to that. And I'm always available for anybody who needs to reach out to me because I didn't have that. I didn't have a podcast that I knew about that I can reach out to someone. I didn't have a set community. I had friends, I had family. Absolutely. Yes, I did. But I didn't have that community support. And I didn't want to tell anyone at the time. But you are not alone. If I could do it, you can do it too. And yesterday was my dad's birthday, just to share. I didn't go to the cemetery. On January 23rd was the anniversary of my dad's passing when he went to be with the Lord. I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't go to the cemetery. Prior, I was going every day. I was going all the time. Anytime I could get there, I was there. Several times in a week, I would be there. And now I don't have to necessarily go there to think about my father. I'm going to go. I'm going to go on Saturday. But I'm just letting you know that I have been able to move forward, and this is what I want of you. And so in talking about this, in talking about resilient, you are in for a treat tonight. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about resilience from my special guest, Vicky Shorts, and then we are also going to talk to you about um, ways in which you can prepare and what you can do and what she can help you with, so that we're not juggling. Our loved ones isn't stuck, is not knowing what to do or where to get the money to bury our loved ones after they've gone to be with the Lord. So without further ado, I want to thank you all for coming. Number one, I want you to know I see you, I hear you, I value, I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. You've been doing this along with me now for 106 episodes, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So I wanted to make that clear. And then also, I want to bring up our special guest. And if you haven't noticed, we have a new studio. So talk about resilience. Resilience has been resilient today. The running around and trying to get things prepared and getting the desk in here and different things, just so that we can do this podcast tonight. So you guys know me. I don't miss an episode unless for a reason beyond my control. I wouldn't have to. This has never happened, and I pray it will never. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to Miss Vicky Shorts. She is a small business consultant who is passionate about helping others succeed in business as well as in their personal life. She possesses over 25 years of experience in building operation management, program development, recruitment, and training. Vicky has a strong interest in making sure her clients are knowledgeable and get results. Outside of work, Vicky enjoys bowling, spending time with family, traveling to destinations for relaxation. So without further ado, we want to welcome Vicky Shorts. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Sonya, to come on your platform and share my story of, being resilient with different obstacles. And I want to tell you, listening to your story, you are a prime example of resilience, because that, I tell you, it's heartfelt to hear your story, and I know many people have been helped from hearing your story and also getting solutions and answers to things that they may have been going through.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. That is the reason why I do this podcast
Yes.
without fail, as well as a walk and talk with Sonya pop-ups, which will be popping up a lot more. And I have guests such as yourself come on and share so that somebody can see, hear, and be able to relate and know that they're not alone, and know that that storm that they are in,
Yes.
they will come out on the other side, and they will be able to progress forward one day at a time. One day more than the day before is all that it takes. So the first thing that I want to ask you, if you don't mind, besides what I've read, who exactly is Vicky Shorts?
Well, Vicky Shorts is now a mature woman that just really love life and enjoy the essence of it. And when I say that, I had to learn how to embrace myself as I walked through difficult situations in my life. And so, due to that, with others, encircling me with love and having support from peers, family, business person, people that I do business with, building relationships. I have been able to really grow and evolve in some areas that I know from experience and my own experience to be able to share some things that I've had to walk through. I can help others. So that's what I pride my life after, is helping others. Being able, sometimes it's just being a person that's good listener. Sometime it's researching and finding information. Sometime it's putting boots on the ground and actually being available. And
Yes,
so I am that passionate person who care about helping people and also seeing them evolve, being able to move to the next level in their lives and face the adversities that we all face at one point in time.
absolutely. Yes. Yes. Um, for those of you who don't know, I met Vicky, oh my goodness, I don't even remember how many years ago, but we were in the same network marketing company. And we took a liking to one another, and we started hanging out together. And I was so inspired by the things that she was talking about and the adversities that she shared in her life with me. And so I knew, as I say, be careful who you have in your community, but make sure you have a community of like-minded individuals who are traveling in the same path and know what they're doing or are going together with you, aspiring in that same direction. And Vicky is one of them. And matter of fact, we got to hang out, what was it, last weekend or so in
Yes.
Atlanta. And it was short-lived, but we did have fun. And I think the greatest part of it for me was the Saturday and the Sunday when we got to sit down and fellowship and really, really conversate and cry and laugh. And it was just amazing, and it was meant to be. It was truly meant to be. So I want to thank you for that. And you didn't say it, but you're also a phenomenal mother, because I got to speak with your daughter, and she shared her story with me and how she spoke and what she represents and how she pours into her girls. I was so taken back. I was like, family. Whether you like it or not, we're family now. So yeah, so thank you for that. So
Yes.
Vicky, tell them you're a mom. Like, let them know you got
Yes, I am a
grandkids.
mother of 4 and I am a grandmother of 10.
Ay, Dios mío, God bless you. 10.
I have 10 grandbabies and I love them all to life. I appreciate the relationship that my adult children and I have, along with my grandchildren. My daughter, Crystal, that you met,
Yes.
her her daughter is the oldest grandchild and she's graduating this year.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
have the first grandchild that will graduate in from my children. And so this is really special for us. We're excited. And so, it's always good to be able to pour into your children, their children, and hopefully the generation to come that I'll still be around. And, I am really solid when it comes to family. I am so family oriented. I believe in really just spending as much time teaching, guiding, protecting, that giving that family love. We have to have that. Um, and so, yes, I have enjoyed when my kids were small. I enjoyed motherhood, and now I am explosive about grandmotherhood. Some people say Nana, this and that, but it's like whatever. I have some that call me Grandme, Granny, and some say Grandma. I answer
Oh,
to them all because I'm excited.
oh. Well, I can't say that because I have four, and they call me Gma. And yeah, because with the my granddaughter Janaya, she's about to graduate this year as well. And then
Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness, I'm about to be a grandma. I looked at myself, I'm like, a grandma? So, that was like 19 years ago now, almost. And
Yes.
so I was like, all right, call me Jima, so when
Yes.
she was born, started with the Jima thing, but yes, but isn't it so next level? It's so different. It's hard to explain, but that grandma thing, it's like you can love on them, you can talk to them, you can do and say. For me, it's different because I grew up with my children. I was 18 when I had my son, 19 when I had my daughter,
Okay.
my older daughter, but she's the middle child, and then
Okay.
27 with the third. And so I was a child growing up with them. So I was learning and growing at the same time, but like now, more experience, know a lot more about life. I get to pour that into my grandchildren, and it's so special. So
Yes.
special. Yeah.
Yes, 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 it is. Yes, it is. And and again, I'm thankful for being here on, your platform, because it gives me a chance to share how even my children, my daughter bought me a sweatshirt, and it had a queen on it, and under the bottom it said resilient.
Yes.
And and I said, I really like this. I said, because I am a resilient person. I said, and not only that, because I have been through things and now was able to make them through, and through those adversities, and I'm resilient. Not only that, but you all walk through that resiliency with me.
Yes.
And so now that you all are adults, you recognize that I was really resilient during the years that you were really young, because otherwise you wouldn't have bought me this. So
Yes.
now they get to walk through their own areas of being resilient, but hopefully, because I've given them some tools, we've sat down and talked about situations and circumstances that we face that brings adversity and those type of things into our lives. And basically, when you face those obstacles, those situations, how to still, you can be emotional while these things may be happening, but at the same time you have to realize you can't stay there.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
stay there. You
Yes.
have to be able to rise above. You have to be able to gather yourself so that you can continue and get those results that you need in order to continue on with everyday life.
Yes. And in that, sorry, in that, it was like a breakthrough. It was like a aha moment. I don't even know how to explain it. But when we were sitting there, and they will get to meet um, some of the other people who were sitting at the tables, because we were all fellowshipping
Yes,
together at
yes.
some point. But actually, it started, let me back up. It actually started before that. It actually started on the way to the restaurant. Okay.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was in the back seat getting my stuff together on the
Yes,
phone, because in my class I don't miss anything, and
yes,
we do
yes,
day
yes,
one, day two, all these things, and I'm in there making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And
yes.
you were up front, and you were having a conversation with another friend of ours, and I
Mhm.
started over here. I said, "Oh, wait a minute, what?" Again, it was meant for all of that, the whole weekend. It was meant to go this way. Okay.
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
overheard something, and it just hit me because, and then we're going to get into what it
Okay,
was, and then
okay.
etc. So because like my dad,
Mhm.
even my mama, because my mama went to be with the Lord first, and
Okay.
she would always talk about her funeral arrangements and this and that, and what she hold on, I'm sorry. Hi, are you not seeing the podcast? If you don't see us, then Instagram's acting up. Jump on Facebook or YouTube. Okay. All right. We're not showing on Instagram, so they're letting me know. Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, so my mama, oh, I want this, I want to do this, and I'm gonna this, and I'm like, okay, yeah. Like I heard her, but I
Yes.
didn't want to hear her. You know what I mean? I was
Yes.
listening, but I wasn't hearing, and not listening. I didn't want to hear it at all because
Absolutely.
nobody wants to admit that there's gonna come a time when we're not gonna be here anymore. Okay, and I was immature in that, but I had to grow up quick. Then when my dad, same thing. My dad is, oh, Sonya Simone. And when he said Sonya Simone, that meant he was talking about something serious and I need to pay attention. And normally I'm perked up listening. But when he started saying, okay, so when I go into the drawer, go get this, do this, blah, 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 blah. Everything is covered, paid, everything's, I'm a vet, blah, blah. I'm like, But again, heard it, but didn't. Now, for those of you who don't know, my dad was a veteran. He was in the Air Force. And yes, as a veteran, you are entitled to certain aspects of, certain things that they provide for you because you're a veteran. For instance, like my dad his remains are at Calverton National Cemetery. Okay. It's a national cemetery for the armed forces. So they do provide certain things on that end. However, funeral itself, things of that nature, casket, etc. None of that is covered by Veterans Affairs or whomever specifically above. That you pay for. So when he's up it, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then boom. Mama's was paid for, hers was different. She was not a veteran. My dad, on the other hand, was. And now I listened to everything he says, and we were at the height of COVID, mind you. Okay. And so nothing to do prior with a person's death is covered. So my sisters, my brother, and I was left to figure it all out. Okay. So when I heard you, I was like, what? Because nobody wants to talk about it, to be honest. I don't see it anywhere, just like boom, 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 boom. You'll hear life insurance here and there once in a while, certain aspects of it on TV, but it's never something that is fully addressed, in which one of the reasons, besides your resilience, I wanted you to come on tonight and talk about, because it's important to have this conversation. But for us, we're getting the cherry on the top, because I asked Vicki to also talk about another aspect of what one can do and how they can prepare for it. So I want to get into that as well. So I'm glad you're over that conversation up front, and I'm glad you're in for me to ears, to to be listening in from the back. So if you will, can you take us to how you got involved, but more so you were on the other side of it as well, having to do exactly what my family had to do, pick up the pieces and figure it all out. So if you will, just talk to us from what
Okay.
happened to you and now what you do and how you can help those of us who are listening.
So I know all too well of being having to pick up the pieces. Several years ago, my kids were all still at home, and so on my husband's side of the family, we had two deaths. Okay, both individuals had no plan, no life insurance, or anything. So, we are a two-income earner home with children, that are still in school, having to maintain our lives and, our financial, goals for our family. But when you have a situation like that, then the family is impacted, some more than others, financially. And that period in time, we had to pay for those funerals. I was very, very upset about it because it took money out of our household. And we still had children and ourselves that we had to take care of. And so it left us short. It left us short. And that day, I didn't know when I would run into this, but that day I decided a couple of things. One thing, that my own family would be prepared and we wouldn't leave a burden on someone else when it came to us having to have funeral and burial expenses.
Mm.
So, number one, when you do something, you don't tell people to do things that you don't do. So, there has to be a preparation, because nobody feels good about having to spend tons of money. And back then, still, funerals was not cheap. And they're even more expensive now. So I made sure that my family, my kids, and I, we were all prepared. Number two, I decided that time I was never going to pay for another funeral. I didn't care who it was, because we all have a fiduciary responsibility to ourselves and those that depend on our income to have something in place. If for whatever reason you cannot afford life insurance, don't have it, medically you can't afford it, or what have you, well, not afford it, but medically you don't qualify, it's still your responsibility to make sure your family can take care of your final business,
Right.
and not have to take that burden on. And so I am a consultant. And so I consult on many things. And I came across a company. I had never heard of this before. There are all kinds of products out there, but still, one of the issues is that if you do get life insurance for yourself, then you cover yourself. If you have additional people you want to cover, then those are additional premiums you have to pay, which it will give you money back, at someone's passing. But if that is not something that that person can afford, then they have other contracts too, pre-needs and all of this, that will only cover one person, and each person that have one have to have a contract of their own. So I came across this company called Assure for Life, and it just blew me away when I began to do research into a product that they had. And their motto is being able to help families with funeral arrangements and have a plan, something in place. And so I did the research, found out what exactly would be included, how this could actually help families that didn't have a plan, or even if they have a plan, it still will work with what you have. Okay. So after doing my research and everything, I thought, okay, this is something that people need. It
Yes.
is a basic funeral contract for funeral services. Now, they don't do anything with the cemetery as far as the ground, but situations where a person don't have anything and you need to get that person taken care of, they offer these services. Now, the unique thing about it is that with the services that they do offer, if you are, so first, let me back up. The plan covers 7 family members or non-family members. I'm going to repeat that. The plan, it's a basic funeral service plan.
Okay.
And it'll be a contract that will cover 7 members. And they do not have to be your relatives, for
Wow.
$85 a month. $85 a month. There is no reason anyone should be without something.
No.
At all. Now, let me break down about this plan. If you're the plan holder,
Okay.
the members on this plan, you have to be at least 18 years of age to be the plan holder. It will, out of those 7 individuals, it will allow you to have 2 people up to 80 years old on the plan. If, number one, they're your spouse, or if they're your parents. Okay. The only thing on this plan, I want to make sure that anyone can qualify for this plan. There's only 4 disqualifiers. If you have a terminal illness, if you have cancer, if you're on dialysis, or if you have a brain tumor. Those are the disqualifiers for this plan. It is not.
I'm sorry, Vicky. Can you just say that part again? Just want to make sure everybody got it, because I'm writing it down too, because I'm going to put it in the chat later.
Okay. If they're disqualified, if they have these 4 things.
Okay.
A terminal illness.
Okay.
Cancer. Actively on dialysis, or a brain tumor.
Okay.
Okay. We're covered in all states except Michigan and North Dakota.
Okay.
Okay. I find this plan, and I'm going to go over the things that it will cover for $85 a month.
Okay.
This plan is also, it covers, the coverages is the United States, Latin America, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean.
Wow.
Okay. And here's what it provides. Basic funeral service or cremation, transfer of the deceased to the local funeral provider, preparation of the deceased, embalming, refrigeration, viewing at the funeral provider for the minimum time the funeral provider offers. They provide a casket or an urn, transportation of the deceased to the cemetery or crematorium, basic reminder pack. You get 1 death certificate, and also it will provide an airline ticket in economy class for the primary member. That means the plan holder that actually took the plan out for their members, should they need to attend the funeral service and they're in another state.
Wow. Can you just repeat that part again? Because that's unheard of. The part
So
about who they'll pay for the airline tickets to go where?
they will pay for the plan holder, which is the person that have taken the plan out for their members. Should you be in one state and the person is in another state, and that's where they're going to have their services, this plan will fly the plan holder only to the location where the services are, round trip. And
Wow.
that's included in the plan.
For $85.
$85 a month.
And how soon does that start once a policyholder takes out a plan?
So once they take out a plan, here are the waiting times, waiting period. So after you make your first payment, okay, and they do bill quarterly, semi-annually, and annually. Okay. Once you take out your plan and make your payment, after the first 3 business days, all accidents are covered. That's including suicide.
Wow.
Okay.
Double
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
That's a wow factor right there, because from my understanding, that doesn't happen.
And also, any natural causes after 180 calendar days, those natural causes are covered under this plan.
Wow.
Under this plan. It's renewable annually. And say, for instance, after the year is up and you want to remove some people and put some new people on there, you can do that. If someone passes on the plan, you'll wait till your annual day comes back around and you'll put another person in that spot. You will actively have this in place and active as long as you pay for your premiums every month.
Wow.
Every month. So there are products out here. Assure for Life, in my opinion, have one of the best plans to assist families with funeral arrangements in the United States.
Wow.
I am, one thing about it is that I like to give knowledge to people, and I like people to get results.
Yes.
I have put this plan in place because I have family members that do not have a plan at all. I don't have time to argue with them, try to persuade them what they need, because I know it and I will be financially impacted. I took it out. $85 a month is nothing. It equals to about 7 people, about $12 and something. But where can you cover 7 people? On a pre-need, it's only one person. Insurance, unless they're children and riders, each person have to have their own policy.
Okay.
So, I just encourage people, don't leave your family in a burden. We're going through financial changes, economic changes, and everything right now. And everybody is facing obstacles, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, psychologically, physically. We're facing things.
Yes,
That's
we
the
are.
last thing a person need to stay up and think about at night. If someone in my family passes today and they don't have a plan, what would that look like for me?
Absolutely. And that's something we don't talk about. That's something we're not comfortable. We shy away from, we run from. But then when the stuff hits the fan, as they say, you're scrambling, you're trying to borrow money, you're going through all these trials and tribulations when it could have been avoided. We don't know what we don't know. So that's why I am so grateful that you're here and you're educating people right now. I mean, we are getting in the chat, you don't tell people to do things you don't do. Very wise, Vicki. And these services and plans are surely needed. Great share of information on your podcast, Sonya. So absolutely. So if one person is listening and what you're saying tonight,
Yes.
Just even if it's just one, it's going to make all the difference in the world, because being proactive is everything. And I pray it's more than one. I mean, I'm going to look into this myself. I mean, and just to set the record clear, I did not ask Vicki to come on to sell anybody anything. This is about being resilient. It's about bouncing back. It's also about being proactive, and it's about a service that is out there that we've never heard of before. I personally didn't know of any. I've heard of life insurance. You pay life insurance, and that's that. But that's why I asked her to repeat certain things, like if you're the policy holder, they will fly you from one state to another so that you can attend the funeral services. And also, and I know we're on a podcast, so we're doing a whole lot of talking, but what really got me listening was they do everything for you. They do everything for you. And I was like, what? Because the first thing is like, oh my goodness, what do I do? Where do I go? What should I select? When should I have it? Who do I gotta call? All this, they do all of that for you. That is a lot. That really takes a big burden off of someone in the midst of someone's loved one passing, and you're just all over the place.
Absolutely. And that is the golden key. It's a turnkey process. While you get the news, you're all over the place, you're trying to figure out this and that, but now with Assure for Life, you have this program, this plan. You dial an emergency number, they get the information of the person on your plan, and they go to work on your behalf.
Yes.
They go to work on your behalf, giving you time to pull yourself together and focus on other things that you will need to have to go through this process. So I everyone that comes close to me, I talk to them about it. I know it's a conversation we don't want to have. I know that, it's something that nobody wants to look forward to. But here's what I always say to everyone. We have a birth date, but we don't have an expiration date.
Yes.
Okay. We know the birth date, but we don't know the date of our expiration from here, our evolving from this place. So prepare, because it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. It's going to happen, and someone is going to have to take on that responsibility to make sure that your final services are taken care of. Don't leave them in a position that they have to grieve and be impacted trying to take care of what you chose not to do.
Yes, absolutely. That is so relevant, so important. And you don't realize until you are in it. And let me tell you, I was in it not once, but I was in it twice. Now, with my mother, who went to be with the Lord last, a little over a year ago, June, my mother had a policy. She worked for the federal government. I knew the policy number. It was to cover everything we chose for it to cover. But even being proactive wasn't proactive enough, because on the government side of the house in which my mother worked for, they made a mistake. They had my mother's name, policy number was incorrect. Somebody else is the beneficiary.
Oh.
The dollar amount was incorrect. And here I am proactive. I was, and these are other things too that are so important. I held my mother's medical proxy, and I also, I had her, oh my goodness, why did it just go out of my head? In other words, legally, I can
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney. Thank you. Yes,
POA, I mean,
both of those. Okay, which ceases upon death, but I had the information. I brought it to the funeral home because my brother and I said, we thought about it, and my brother wasn't really in a position to help right then and there, so I took charge because I had already done it with my dad, and started the ball going. And the day my mother passed away on Saturday, I called the funeral home. We went there on Sunday. The funeral was to be that Thursday to follow. A one-day service, just 3 hours, everything in one, and then my mom was cremated. Now, picture this. I said that was Thursday, that was all to happen. Wednesday, we get a call from someone from the funeral parlor that says, guess what? They're saying that the information that you have is wrong.
Oh.
That not the policy holder. The dollar amount is not right. They gave us some crazy name of somebody we had never heard in life before, and never ever heard after we heard it that time. And as a result, my mother's funeral was going to have to be postponed until they got it right, unless we paid for it. So guess what happened? I wasn't going to be embarrassed and try to figure out who was coming and who wasn't coming, and this, that, not even 24 hours later. So it had to be paid out of pocket. Wow. And it wasn't cheap. And it wasn't the people, the funeral director, they were great. They never once made us feel like it was about the dollar.
Yes.
But business is business. And, my mother was set to go to the crematorium that night afterwards. And they, there was things in place, right down to it was being broadcast live, because a lot of my mom's friends was elderly, and they couldn't leave their homes and fly, or they were in rehabilitation or nursing home.
Yes.
So that was a whole lot, and the programs was done, etc. So here we are shelling out a lot of money trying to figure it all out in a very short time. So even you think you're prepared, things aren't. Now, had we have had somebody who was going to come in and take charge, it probably would have went a lot smoother, and not on eggshells, like, okay, well, how much do we have now? Okay, well, all right, we got this now. And then having to wait until, well, they did get it straight, but they got it straight like the next day, but still in all, then it took a couple of weeks, and then, it took like a month to get reimbursed for those monies.
Yes.
So I wanted to share that, because it was like, even though we thought we were prepared, we weren't. And it would have been nice to be able to sit back and have somebody just take care of it for us.
Yes. And I'm glad you're saying that, because even when you are prepared, things can go wrong, And here is something else that I want people to know is that with the funeral homes, once the body is picked up and taken to the funeral home, you have a certain amount of time to show them what you have in order to carry out those services.
Yes.
If a person die and there is no money from the family, there's no money that that person have because he or she did not have a plan, they will put that body, and keep that body there. They'll do all the cremation and everything, but don't you know they will charge you a storage fee for that body?
Yes.
Absolutely. You will be charged. It's no free ride for anyone. It is no free ride. If they get that body and they don't hear from family or there's no money, they're gonna embalm it, put that body in the freezer, and if no one comes up, they're gonna start charging storage fees. And that will be charged to the estate or to the family, the executor or executrix that is in charge of the estate will have to pay that before the releasing of that body.
That, that's a hard pill to swallow, because now you're worried about getting the money, you're worried about your loved one, and you want to be respectful in the process and, lay them to rest.
Yes.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. So I want to thank you so much for sharing. And like I said, this is something that is not discussed. I
Yes.
did put your information, so I do have it in the chat here for Facebook and for YouTube. And I will also, I'm going to have to share it to Instagram because apparently it didn't take, they weren't able to get on.
Okay.
But we also have another comment that says, true, being proactive is everything.
Oh,
It
yes.
sure is. It sure is. And for those of you that are listening and you have a loved one, and if they are conveying to you their wishes or where the policy is or whatever it is, you need to take a listen. You need to listen attentively, take notes, know where everything is, because if not, it is going to be a great challenge to you. And in another instance with my brother, we have my brother that I was talking to you about, that it's me and my brother on my mom's side of the family. And um, the challenge with his, he had a situation with his dad that it was also during the height of COVID. Coincidentally, his dad passed on a couple months after my dad passed. And my brother didn't have all the necessary information that he needed to provide to the VA so that they can take care of the part that they did and him have to take care of the other parts. And so it was a double-edged sword. So even if you are associated with a veteran and that is the loved one and you think that you have it all together, make sure you 100% do have it all together, because what the VA does is a great thing, but they only take care of the burial, opening up of the ground, the entombment, if that's the case. But anything to do when your loved one first passes until that point is on you.
Wow.
So we are very grateful to have someone here today, and I put her information, Vicky Shorts. I did mix the word assure with Vicky Shorts. I apologize, but Assure for Life, independent consultant. Her email, I put that down there, as well as a website. Check it out. I'm not getting anything for talking to you about it today. Vicky has not paid me, asked me to be on here. Let's just do a disclaimer. It's something that needs to be heard. It's something that needs to be addressed. And then we have another message, a very sensitive subject, but very needed. Thanks for sharing. Absolutely. And I hope that with this, that you will go and you will check out Vicky Shorts, whether it be through Gmail or on the website, and I will post it again and they won't be jumbled together. I promise you. So again, I want to thank you, Vicki, so much for agreeing to come on tonight. We were
Absolutely.
fortunate to have two parts of you, the resilience, and you're sharing your story, and
Yes,
then being proactive after, well, prior to a loved one or even us.
yes,
We have to be responsible and take care. It starts with us. Um,
yes.
so thank you so much for that. Um, I also have a question for you. So, besides what I posted, how are we to find you on social media platforms?
So I am on Facebook as Vicky Shorts.
Okay.
Um, and I'm on Instagram, VM Consult One, or you can reach me by my email, which is posted, your VM Consult at gmail.com, or you can also reach me by phone. It's my business phone, 214 914 5457. Again, I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. If you just have questions, feel free to give me a call. Asking a question, I'm not trying to charge you to ask a question. I want to help people because this is really needed. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard that there's been a deficiency when it came to family members passing away and final burial expenses was not covered. So, talk to someone. And another thing I would like to just put kind of pin is that if your parents, grandparents, older people that have had insurance policies from way back, check how much the face value of those policies are,
Wow. Mm.
because some of my clients have checked their parents' face value. Some of them parents are 86 years old, still paying that $25 on $4,000, and they've had the policies for over 35 and 40 years. It's not even worth it. Know what your family have, put eyeballs on it. And I know sometimes parents can be very, very reluctant to want to share that information with their children. I started meeting with families that would talk to me because I'm not part of their family, and I help them get their things together, make sure things are in one place, because they're just not comfortable speaking to family sometime about it. It's a hard pill to swallow. It is really a hard pill to swallow, but we have to do it and we have to face that.
Absolutely, positively. It's very uncomfortable. I'm speaking from my own experience, but it's something that definitely needs to be spoken about. And we have someone here who's willing to speak to you about it. And that was exceptional information that you just gave, especially check a policy, because I know my sister says that, I need to be politically correct, but I'm going to just say it. I think that it's really disgusting if they've been paying that long on a policy for all those years. They done paid that policy over and over and over again. It's disheartening to even hear that things like that go on. So thank you for bringing that to the public eye. It is very important, to
Yes.
say the least. So I want to thank you for that as well. Thank you for your time and coming and sharing your story. And I am definitely, definitely, definitely going to tell all you who are watching now or later on the replay that this isn't the last that you're going to see of Vicky Shorts, because we are going to bring her back again, because we had a conversation and we're going to be doing some things
Oh, yes.
for sure. So
Yes.
in the meantime and in between time, I want to also ask you, if you don't mind, to, as I ask all my guests, to complete this phrase for me. be always destined for blank.
Be always destined for excellence and success, making no excuses, being able to spring up and get results.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gents, you've heard it tonight. Hopefully, you took notes. And if you weren't able to, you're going to watch the replay and take notes again. We know it didn't post to Facebook, but I will get it posted, not Facebook, I'm sorry, to Instagram as well. So, anybody who missed it and doesn't know to come to Facebook or to YouTube, they can watch it later as well. Thank you once again, my friend. It
Yes.
was an amazing, very educational hour plus. Thank you for your time while I was getting it together, trying to woosah, because we have this studio setting now. We got a lot going on, and just thank you for rocking and hanging with us and being patient. So until we meet again, stay safe, stay well. God bless you all. And remember, always be destined for greatness, your very best, not to be compared your beginning with somebody else's middle. Until next time, bye for now.